Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima, and I want to talk to you for a bit about Trackmania. Yes, it's one of those annoying situations where they don't put a subtitle or a number or anything on it because, well, they just feel the need to do that because it's Ubisoft, of course, they feel the need to do that. But yes, this is Trackmania, the new one, also known as Trackmania 3, also known as Trackmania Next, which is what I saw it as when I was looking to buy the standard access on the payment processor, which I thought was a bit odd. I'm going to refer to it as Trackmania Next, just so I don't get confused with the original Trackmania from back in the early 2000s or something else, because this game has like 10 iterations, and this is yet another iteration where they somehow managed to fuck it up with another ridiculous PR thing. So, yes, the big thing this time in Trackmania is the subscription model, because it's got a subscription model now. They don't call it a subscription model, they actively refrain from calling it a subscription model, but it's a subscription model. So, they actually give you a decent amount of stuff for free, right? It's very obviously a demo, but at the same time, it's a demo that isn't particularly shit, so I'm not really against it. So, here's what they give you. They give you training, which is 25 courses that allow you to learn how the game's played. Then they give you the tri-monthly, i.e. the 3 months set of tracks that they make every time. So they give you 25 tracks to start out with. And then they also give you access to Arcade, which is basically a way of playing online with other people with the Summer 2020 maps at the moment. I'm assuming they'll cycle in other maps as they go along, but they've only given you these 25 to work with, which I don't think is a very good idea, mainly because of how tracks in Trackmania, once you figure them out, can get pretty boring pretty quick. So I would have thought they would have put out at least 75 tracks when they started, and say only giving you access to like 25 to begin with. So yeah, you get access to training, Summer 2020, and you also get access to Arcade. You also get access to some of this stuff here, so playing local multiplayer, playing a single map, working against a replay or a local network. You also get access to the map editor, but only the simple map editor, which is bizarre. I don't know why they only give you access to that, because the simple map editor isn't very useful at all. You're better off just starting with the advanced one. You can go for map review. I believe this might be a standard thing, but I'd be lying if I said I knew for sure. You've also got a replay editor, which is pretty much exactly what you expect it to be just by looking at the thing going on there. So at the icon there with the timeline and the buttons and what have you. So we can just leave that one alone for now. And you've also got access to the garage, where you can... The game's about to crash. This happened to me once already, and I kind of hate it when it does. Also, see, look at them. Middle left there. Include Libs, Natio, TM Next. They were going to call it Trackmania Next, but they didn't. Because of course they didn't. Great, I don't have a choice. I have to restart the game. This is very clearly a new release. Oh, they did it for me. That's kind of nice. I'll just skip this and head back into the main menu. But as I was saying, they allow you to edit skins, but they don't actually let you apply them unless you've bought the club tier of subscription, which is weird. Also, this is the only part of the game you can't control with a controller, which is also weird. Also, the controls for this I just don't like. They're really odd. You have to swap between camera and painting modes. Also, this is a skin that I made because I am unoriginal and just a weirdo. But yes, you can swap between camera mode and then not camera mode, and then you use not camera mode to paint it like this. So you've got brushes, you've got fill bucket, you've got stickers, you've got text, and you've got images that you can import yourself. You've got a color dropper, you've got undo and redo, but it's only 7 layers. You've got different, it's only 7 times, I should say, or something along 7. It's very little. You've also got layers that you can use if you feel the need to. That's all fine. It's okay, although I do think it would be better off letting you edit your skins outside the game, but of course, this is Trackmania. They have to find something to charge you for. Because, of course, that's all you can do when it comes to the free-to-play stuff. You can only play online with Arcade, you can only play solo in Summer 2020, and you can only create skins and simple tracks, but you can't play them or use them in any reasonable way. So in order to actually do anything beyond that, you have to buy the standard access, which I did. It is $15 a year, which is not the worst price I've ever heard of, but at the same time, I really do feel like this should have been made a one-time thing. So here's what you get access to once you've got the standard access. You get access to club campaigns, which are campaigns made by individual people that they put together with their own tracks, and you can play any track that you prefer and get medals and rank up with other people if you so desire, and fight against other people if you so desire along those. You also get the rankings in regular, like just in summer 2020 as well, but yeah, you need standard access to play these ones. You also get access to club rooms, which are basically this game's equivalent of dedicated servers, where you can select any set of tracks that you feel like, and you can just join in and play. And as you can see, there are many, many, many players on some of these. Although some of them definitely have no players whatsoever, because that's just kind of what happens. It would be nice to be able to, like, filter out rooms by ones that actually have people in them, because look, there are an absolute ton of these rooms, and none of them have players. There is no way, like, Campana LGM is going to have players, especially when it's just, like, the regular tracks in a different order. It's a bit weird. You can filter out rooms, thankfully, but that only lets you filter by name, which is weird. You don't get access to anything in clubs. Again, that's for the third tier. And you also get access to the map editor, and you get access to looking at club skins. I also believe you can do that in the regular access, but you can't apply them unless you get the club access, which is more expensive. I believe it's like $45 for a year. Yeah, it's $45 for a year or $90 for 3 years, which is ridiculous, honestly. If I'm being completely honest with you, that's completely ridiculous. What does that get you access to? Well, you can go over to clubs, and you can go into clubs and join in their events. So you can join in their activities or events. You can play against members of those clubs and fight their ghosts specifically, and not just random ghosts they pull from the ether. And you can also apply skins. Like if I hit the X button here, see, you can only customize your car once you have club access, which I feel is absolutely ridiculous. You can also compete in the Open Grand League. The other thing they also add in standard access is track of the day. So they pick out a track from the user creations, and you can race on it. You can get medals, you can compete with other people, and you also get to come back and play ones that you had while you had the subscription. So if you subscribed and you went through July 19, and then you went back to July 19's track of the day, you can play that track of the day. So, first things first, I kind of understand where they're coming from. Like, it's obviously shit in comparison to the previous Trackmania games, right? So, in those previous Trackmania games, you can host dedicated servers all you liked, you can customize your skin all you liked, and you can have your own clubs and what have you outside of the game, but it wasn't integrated. Obviously, this is the Trackmania guys trying to move into the live service thing that they've got going on. I'm not a fan, personally. I'm really not, because it's just weird having to pay for a subscription in order to play this game online. It doesn't make much sense to me, personally, outside of arcade, of course, but considering that arcade only seems to be made up of, like, the summer 2020 maps right now, which there's only 25 maps of, it's gonna be a bit weird, if I'm being honest with you. Just playing arcade and only having those 25 maps to play without being able to go and play, like, some of the club rooms in order to keep that variety up, although I understand that's why they want you to, like, dump some money into it. So this is what I suggest. Standard access should be a one-time payment. You should only have to pay $20 or so in order to play on the club rooms, to customize your skin, and to have access to, like, the map review and the advanced map editor. I understand track of the day, but considering that track of the day is user-created maps, it feels a bit weird, because if you look at the standard access or the club access, at the end of your 1 year period, keep the 100 official maps, the 365 tracks of the day, and the advanced track editor. Why do you get to keep custom maps? Here's what I don't get. Why can't you go back and play just like Track of the Day maps as much as you want? That I don't understand. I also don't understand not being able to have your garage. I understand clubs, because you need to be able to maintain the servers, and basically being able to make club rooms is basically being able to host dedicated servers, right? So I don't understand why they feel the need to lock you off from things like the skin editor and keeping the tracks of the day all the time, other than to have a extra purchase incentive. So here's my proposition. Make club access, make standard access, I should say, a one-time purchase. Make it so that you do your skins and your advanced map editor on it as well as like get other people's skins. But then put everything else in clubs, you know, behind that paywall so that you have that money coming in to maintain it. Because I understand the idea with clubs, I just don't understand the idea with things like... I don't understand the idea with the things like the skins. It just seems a bit grabby to me, personally. But yes, I have to spend 10 minutes talking about this at the beginning of the video because it's very relevant to how you experience the game. Someone who comes in and finds that they can't, like, make their own and apply their own skin without paying for like $45 a year is probably really going to be turned off by this system. I understand the system, I just don't understand why it's $45 a year to make your own bloody skin and use it. It's dumb. It's legitimately dumb. But anyway, it's probably about time I actually played something, so let's just pick a track and hop in. I will point out that I have played all these tracks already, but Trackmania doesn't seem to actually want to save my progress. I thought that might have been a standard access thing, but after having actually bought the standard access, for whatever reason, it doesn't seem to actually be saving my medals anyway, so whatever. We'll just hop straight in and away we go. So for those of you who've never played Trackmania before, Trackmania is a time trial game, and the time trial is very heavily influenced by the game's controls, because you see, Trackmania emphasizes very precise control over your car. You only have two buttons outside of steering, of course, which is accelerate and brake. That's pretty obvious. But the way that Trackmania handles its time trial aspect is via making every little input, every little bit of effort you put in, I mean even the most minor releases of the accelerate and brake and the most minor turns. The way that Trackmania emphasizes its time trials is by making every little bit of input you do feel as part of the experience. So, every single track can be improved on by mere milliseconds, simply by knowing better times to release and put your foot down on the accelerator. And the entire purpose of Trackmania as a concept is on improving these times via incremental improvement, via learning the best lines, via learning the best timings to accelerate and brake, via learning the best times to really push it, and learning the best times to really brake and not screw it up like that. Which is why there is a button on the controller dedicated to automatically restarting from the very beginning. And everything from learning from other players to endlessly practicing on the same tracks to just continuously restarting on one checkpoint is parts of the Trackmania atmosphere. You can press Y on the controller. I don't know what it is on keyboard because I never play on keyboard because analog input is incredibly important. No, I'm done. But yeah, as you can see, Y button restarts you at a checkpoint at the same speed and angle you were coming in from. But yes, as you can see, I would usually like put in edited footage of myself like playing Trackmania as well as humanly possible, just, you know, so that you get a better idea of what the game looks like when you're actually doing well. But that's the thing about Trackmania. It doesn't feel like that you can realistically show the game off without showing the fuck-ups. Because the way that Trackmania works is that you need to be continuously improving in order to, like, learn from your fuck-ups. And that means continuously restarting. That means continuously looking at replays, checking lines and what have you, in order to make sure that you are improving. So showing me continuously attempting to play on this course is what I feel like is more accurate to the Trackmania spirit, which is why I've decided to do this in live commentary versus regular commentary. There's no chance of me beating my personal best at this point, but I'm going to keep trying anyway. And when I say that every little input, everything that you do in this game matters, I mean that very specifically, because they do some ridiculous stuff in Trackmania in order to emphasize, like, proper control over your accelerator, your braking, your buttons, over everything. And the main one that everyone always brings up when it comes to Trackmania is how accelerating and braking in the air actually helps control of your car. Which is legitimately ridiculous if you've never heard about it before. And if you only watch me on YouTube, which is unbelievably unlikely, but if you never watch anyone else on YouTube, you only watch me, well, you will have never heard of this, and you'll be like, what the fuck? They actually do that? They do. They absolutely do. Yeah, I don't stand a chance. Let's just move on to the next map so you don't get too bored watching this one. But yeah, they do ridiculous shit, like make it so that your accelerate and brake matter in the air because of air control, which is ridiculous. But they've also added a couple of new things to this Trackmania. So you've got panels on the floor like that, which are turbo and brake and engine off, which will actually, like, completely disable your accelerator to the point where you will need to gently glide yourself to the next checkpoint. Otherwise, you'll just run out of speed and you'll have to restart the entire course. So there are, like, weird little challenges like that going on. But there are also other things. One in particular that's new to Trackmania next, which I actually really appreciate, is the air booster. I don't know exactly what they call it. I think they call it up booster and down booster for multiple reasons. And you're about to see it in action. So the way it works is it actually boosts your up control and down control depending on how you hold the button. So this is reactor boost up, for example. So if you hold the accelerate button, it will boost your car up, and if you hold the brake, it will boost your car down. Which is a really bizarre thing to add to Trackmania. But after having played a couple of courses with it, I gotta say it actually works. And it works really well, because it adds a whole new layer, I should say. Not lair, as in the evil villain of Nadio's lair. But considering one thing they've done with the courses so far in this game, they are probably evil. But yes, that's not what I meant. What I meant to say is, it adds a whole new layer of air control to Trackmania, which I really like it. It's a really cool idea, and it adds a lot of room for certain kinds of maneuvers. And there are a few courses which absolutely take advantage of this in the default set, and it will be really fun to see what they come up with. I have seen people that try to use it as just a full-on, like, you know, aerial obstacle course sort of thing going on, and I'm really not a fan of that approach personally. But I do like it when they use it to do minor things, like make it so that you can control yourself in the air a bit more accurately, or you can use it to find yourself That was an absolutely terrible roll. I seem to be able to roll this car way easier than I have in the previous Trackmanias. It is absolutely a remake of the stadium control scheme, but yeah, with the boosters and the... Like, they've definitely updated some of the traction and the feel and all that on the ground so that it definitely does feel a bit different from the old stadium types without going too nuts with it. Fuck me, I'm behind my personal best already. But yeah, I like it because it gives you a little bit of extra control over things like what surfaces you want to stick to, what surfaces you want to get away from, what surfaces, you know, just in general, you want to bring yourself into contact with. Just grind the rail there. Great fucking job, me. As a result, it's a really welcome addition to the roster of obstacles that you need to deal with. And I really look forward to seeing what they plan on doing with it in like the next few months with Trackmania Next. They've also introduced snow and bloody dirt grounds here, and they actually make way more of a difference than I remember in the original stadium map layouts. It's a bit funny to me like that. Well, it's an improvement on my time. I don't think I got the gold, but I'll take the improvement. Yeah, I didn't get the gold by about 400 milliseconds. Let's just move on to the next map. But yes, they've added new both snow and both new snow and dirt feeling grounds, which are also interesting. But I absolutely hate the snow because it's so easy to oversteer on the snow. Like, it is ridiculous just how hard it is to keep control on the snow. And you'll find out at some point in this footage, because they felt the need to put it in a lot of, the parts of this game, right? It gives you a ridiculous lack of traction. It's really easy to spin out. And it's just kind of unpleasant to drive on it. And one of the things that I absolutely hate that they've done with the tracks so far is that they've made it so that the, how do I put this? They've done something along the lines of putting a really difficult snow obstacle, like, straight in the beginning of a map. They make it really hard to get past, and then they have a full-on track that's another minute. Like, this one here is an absolutely fantastic example. I wasn't able to finish this map. I wasn't even able to finish this map because this part here is just an absolutely fantastic example of how easy it is to spin out on the snow, and they're actively, like, being aggressive about it by making it really hard to deal with. Because you have to get through this jump really well in order to give yourself a chance. As you can see, your personal best actually sticks around the entire time, even if you reset, which is a change that I'm kind of split about, because I just completely missed that checkpoint, which means I have to start again. Fuck! I'm a little bit split about your personal best sticking around, because it's very easy to see just how much you fucked up, which I'm not entirely sure I'm a fan of, but, you know, that's just kind of how the world works at this point. You gotta see your fuck-ups all the time. See cancel culture. No matter how old the fuck-ups are. Yeah, slow motion too, that's new. But yeah, they have this annoying tendency to put the snow obstacles, like, right at the fucking beginning of the courses, and then they make them really hard to get past that first one, so that you have to be just constantly banging your head. I'm surprised I actually managed to finish the course that time, but you constantly have to be banging your head against a really tough obstacle like this, just because of how difficult snow is to maintain any sort of traction on, and I hate it. I hate it when they do that, and most of the custom tracks that I've played online so far seem to not do this, which I really appreciate. But yeah, I hate it when they do that. I don't mind the idea of snow being like an intermediary obstacle, because it works really well when you kind of have to deal with the fact that you're about to lose all your traction and you need to guide yourself in really gently. But when it's the very start of a course, the thing is really hard to get around without losing control, and you need to do it perfect in order to be able to keep up with like your personal best or a gold medal time or something like that. It just drives me absolutely insane. And I absolutely despise it. Isn't helped by the fact that you have to do a jump, and of course you have to deal with all your air control shit in this one. But yeah, that's a nitpick. Personally, I'm just not that big of a fan of the snow in general. It's okay as an intermediary, but when you do shit like this, it just drives me nuts. Alright, I can't move on to the next map because I'm at the end of this set. I have to move on to the next set. It does look good though. It's very clearly the stadium environment, but with... It's very clearly the stadium environment with a bit of a graphical overhaul. I've limited the frame rate to 60 in order to... get it recorded on this video without stressing my computer too much. But still, it looks good. It sounds pretty good too. I got nothing wrong with the presentation. They've always been pretty good at that over at Mattio. And of course, there's plenty of like options in the map editor in order to decorate the world the way you want, in order to get your in order to get the map looking just the way you want it to. Yeah, overall, it looks great, and it runs pretty well too. At the beginning of the for the like release at least, it's doing pretty well for itself. When I oh god, slow motion. Damn it! Straight into a fucking pole. I actually got through there the first time, like, without even trying. I did really well for myself. Back when I played this track the first time. Yeah, that would have been gold if I didn't bang into that pole. But yeah, it usually runs at like 120 to 140 frames a second for me personally, depending on the complexity of the track. I'm on a pretty high-end rig. It's a 8700K RTX 2080, so... you know, that's to be expected, but at the same time, it's still fine for a game like Trackmania. Although it does have the neat ability to, like, turn settings on and off automatically if you want to hit a specific frame rate. So, at least they're thinking ahead on that one, and I imagine that something as simple with the graphical settings that it's got can run on toasters. I think after I don't fuck up on this map, we'll go and we'll have a look at the settings. There's a lot of them. See what I mean? Even slight let-ups on the accelerator can result in these guys getting past you. And away I go. That's always the best, isn't it? Forced first-person view segments, where you can't really see, like, the overall world around you. You can actually play in this, like, all the time, if you so desire. Like, look. But... you lose a lot of, like, environmental awareness in this mode, so I don't know how anyone can realistically play like this. But, well, that's Trackmania for you. Some people will probably do it. But yeah, the game's got a lot of settings. It runs pretty well. And yeah, the default bindings for the controller are fine. Although it seems they've put a little bit less emphasis onto analog triggers in this one, which admittedly, I appreciate a fair bit more than I do. I appreciate it a fair bit more than I do analog triggers, especially on controllers like the Xbox 360 one, which can be a bit iffy on it. Phew, thank God I didn't run straight into an edge. Although that time is absolutely terrible if I want a gold. But yeah, as I said, let's go and let's check out the settings. Can't access this with the controller as far as I can tell. So I don't know what, yeah, report an issue, then you've got the key, which is for serials, for bonuses, I assume. There's your audio sliders. So yeah, there's your profile. Plenty of stuff going on here. Thankfully, they just hide everything that's like really dangerous to give out. There's your graphics. Fair amount of options going on here. I've turned off bloom, lens flare, and motion blur because of course I have. Those are always ugly. There's your sound stuff. Here's your input. You've got full rebindings on everything, including controller, which is nice, including things like analog dead zones and what have you. That's all nice. Interface, system. It's got all the basics. Nothing in particular that I would be particularly annoyed with. It looks like channels is going to be an upcoming feature. I assume that's where you go to view replays and what have you. So, you know what? Just for a little bit while longer, let's just go hop straight into arcade and we'll play online with people. You saw I was racing ghosts in the Summer 2020 mode, in the solo mode, which is fine. But in arcade and in the club rooms, you race with other people. So you can see where they are on the track at any particular time, and if you hold, I believe it's right bumper, yep, you can see the overall leaderboards at this particular moment. And you can see how well you're doing in comparison to the people that you are trailing in the bottom there. So what criticisms do I have about Trackmania that aren't related to the absolutely stupid subscription model? I've never understood the point of restarting from a checkpoint like this, because it doesn't reset your time to what it was before that point, and it feels like with the change that they've made, that makes it so that you come in from the same angle that you successfully hit the checkpoint with, I feel like that they should change this, but at the same time, I'm not sure how you would do that without, completely changing the game as it's played. It would make it absolutely great for, to put it in a word that I can't really understand how you would say in this sort of game's vernacular. It would be great for single segment speedrunning, but at this point, there doesn't seem to be like a mode that encourages that. It just seems to be like, shit. Wow, I got top segment, but I still fucked it up. I've played this track before. This shouldn't be a problem for me. Come on, focus. You can do this. Let off the accelerator. Pass through the trees. How'd I do? 6th place. I'll take that. No point restarting. Good job, run, Ben. Hey, I got a bronze trophy, whatever the hell that means. They don't really explain how this works in game. It's a bit weird. I didn't do too badly in comparison to him. Like, another second off might have done the trick, which I might have been able to do if I had the time. But yeah, what criticisms do I have other than, like, the snow, which I'm not a particular fan of, especially when they use it in really dick ways? It's a good question, honestly, because, frankly, it's Trackmania. They perfected this formula something like 15 years ago. It's really hard to imagine how they could screw it up at this point. The timer on the right is a bit weird this time around, actually, because I remember back when I used to play, like, United Forever online just casually. That went well. But yeah, I remember back when I used to play this online just casually, that timer would give you a, that timer would warn you when the track was too long to actually be, track was too long to actually be completed that time. How the hell did he get that in 9 seconds? What the fuck is he doing? Oh, nope, it was just, that was just the splits. Am I still in the lead? I am, by about 100 milliseconds. Let's see if we can't keep that, shall we? Yes! Little bit of extra time off. Nothing wrong with that. But yeah, look, outside of that, like, it all comes down to the subscription system, doesn't it? Like, Trackmania is absolutely sublime when you play it correctly, right? But it's all the subscription system that are the major problems. Like, not being able to make your own, not being able to apply your own skins is like the big issue for this one. Not being able to play in club rooms without paying for a yearly subscription. Not being able to join clubs without a yearly subscription. Not being able to play a track of the day without the yearly subscription. Like, man, I can understand why they've done it like this, because, well, this is just live service. This is how it has to be. But I gotta tell you, man, I'm really not a fan of it. 5-4-1. That's okay. I'm still in the lead. Time limit 5 minutes? Sure. Because otherwise, it's the best implementation of Trackmania that there's been in a long time. Like, Stadium just felt, Trackmania 2 Stadium, I should say, felt just a little bit undercooked, and it still did even a couple of years later. And they were still clearly screwing around with it just a bit too much when the overall game was, even a couple of years later, right? But in this case, everything seems right. Like, being able to join a club, compete against both them and the world in the same way that you usually do with the Trackmania series. The little things that they've added on top, like the booster, and how, oh no, he beat my best time by about by about 30 milliseconds. God damn it. I have to do better. I hit the wall there. Come on, come on. Damn it. I guess the one major thing that I would say is it's kind of hard to see replays, in the sense that if I wanted to look at like the replay of someone in particular, like while I'm racing on the summer 2020 courses or something, just as an example, it's kind of hard to look directly at their replays and see what they're doing. I'd love to see a full-on like replay sharing system with like inputs displayed on screen and stuff like that. Right now, I think the only way to get those is via, like, finding a replay being shared online as a file, drop that into the game files. And, you know, just watch it that way via the view replay section on the main menu. With how much emphasis they've put on keeping everything in the client this time, I'm surprised that there isn't an easier way to see replays. But I imagine they're probably going to add that in. Like, you saw that they have an option for channels, and there's no such thing as channels in the main client yet. So I hit the wall. I'm done. Oh well, I came second. I did pretty well. I held the first place there for like half the game, so I'll take that. What are those bars? I'm not entirely sure what those bars have to do with anything. We'll play one more map, and we'll end the video off. Oh, fuck me, it's a snow map. I had to open my goddamn mouth, didn't I? But look, I really like Trackmania, man. I've liked Trackmania ever since I got my hands on a pirated copy of United Forever and spent 6 months playing on the solo maps before I realized Nations Forever was a thing. It's a really good series, and this is just like, outside of that really stupid subscription shit, this is a really satisfying implementation of it. He's done a really good job, and by he, I mean Natio as in the developer, not Mr. Natio. Whee! Splat. See what I mean about snow tracks? I hate snow tracks. But yeah, outside of the fact that they're locking so much behind a ridiculous yearly subscription, it's a really nice implementation. Having all the clubs and being able to compete against them in their times integrated so thoroughly throughout the game is a really cool idea. Having the having all of the things like being able to share skins and all of that show up in the in the game itself, just having it all integrated like that is really well done. And having like all the club rooms be so easily accessible, and being able to share your tracks so easily, and having people being able to like come along and like edit a bunch of tracks and on review a bunch of tracks end on end. That's a cool idea. And having a track of the day being pulled from the best that the community has to offer, that's also a cool idea. Why isn't it in the arcade mode? Because they want to get you for that subscription money. That's the worst part. It just seems so focused on getting that money from the subscriptions. And I even understand it in the case of like the clubs, like having to host all those servers all the time. It can't be cheap. So here's what I think. Just, if they want this to be like the best Trackmania has ever been, make it so that you can edit your skins in the standard access, and then make standard access a one-time purchase. If you want to be in a club, if you want to take place in club activities, if you want to do something like that, then you do your subscriptions. If you want to be one to like host servers, that's fine, just pay the subscription so that they can use it to keep the servers up. I am absolutely fine with that approach, but having something as simple as being able to apply a skin that you edited personally be stuck behind a subscription is such a stupid idea that I absolutely despise it. And it's the one thing that really just grinds my gears about this iteration of Trackmania. And I really wish that they would change it. Especially after the whole PR bollocking this game got, which means it's probably not going to be able to recover from it, because we all know what games are like these days. If you have some kind of massive situation, like early on in your lifespan, that will haunt you for years to come. Bloody No Man's Sky took like 7 updates, seven massive updates over the course of a year before it was able to claw its way back. Fucking, you know, Fallout 76 is still seen as a laughingstock. And not to mention the Vita. Like, it got the moniker of no games, despite that being absolutely not true, really early on, and it held on to that for years. So, Trackmania having screwed up at the start line so thoroughly means that it's probably just gonna languish for a while. And then they're gonna release like Trackmania 4 or whatever in a couple of years, and maybe they'll have gotten rid of the bloody, maybe they'll have gotten rid of the subscription model, but at the same time, they'll probably introduce loot boxes, or they'll add a battle royale mode, or they'll add whatever the next stupid fucking, whatever the next stupid fucking thing is going to be in this industry. They'll find a reason to add it. Because it's Ubisoft. Remember when Trackmania United Forever wasn't bound by Ubisoft? Or at least it didn't feel like it was like under its grasp. You know what the worst thing is? This isn't even on Steam. So, despite the fact that it's very clearly able to be on Steam outside of the usual set of like purchases, you know, the subscriptions, because duh. seriously, I fucking hate the ice physics in this game. They just drive me mental. Trying to figure out how the hell you're supposed to work your way around them. We'll do one more map, just for the hell of it. Oh, I actually got a trophy. That's kind of neat. Didn't even make it into the top 50%, but, well. Alright, fine, whatever. Ooh, is this a booster map? This looks like a booster map. Whatever it is. Oh, no, I don't think this is one. I think I've played on this one. Of course I've played on this one. I've played all 25 of the tracks. Just go back to the regular camera. Booster! Reactor boost down. Gone! I completely forgot how that part of the level takes place. I guess that's another criticism I had. It can be kind of hard to tell how the courses are going to go down until you've already been through them once or twice. It'd be nice to have like some kind of warning or something. Like some track designers put in like course flyovers or what have you. They give you a rough idea of what you're meant to do, but when it comes to these like weird-ass courses that have twists and turns everywhere, it doesn't really help for them. So if I hit the brake here, yeah, there we go. That's what you're meant to do. Alright. Let's give this another shot. So just even in like a minor thing like that, like how you gotta brake while you're on the upswing to make sure that you don't go flying off into space with those new boosters. I think that's a really clever idea. Even if I suck at it. Brake. Apply the boost. 2 seconds. I cut 2 seconds off my time and I only moved back up to 7th, which is where I was before. Fuck. Also, yeah, they really should add like maps of the day into this. I really don't know why they haven't. Into the arcade mode, I mean. But then again, since you can only play maps of the day. No. Close but no cigar. Since you can only play maps of the day with the subscription, I can kind of understand why. But at the same time, it would at least make for a bit more variety than the 25 tracks they give you here. Because I'm still concerned about that, you know, someone playing the free version would be like, oh, is this all the tracks I'm going to be able to play? No, just add a little bit extra in there. Add a little something or other. Get people excited, you know? Come on. 5th place. That's good. At least I got the gold. Now, clearly I'm going too fast around this corner. So I need to brake just that little bit harder. Nope. I'm behind my best time. I'm probably not going to be able to improve on this. Although I took that corner pretty well. .008 seconds ahead of my best time. This is going to be my last run no matter what way I swing it. So let's try and do this properly, shall we? Wow, I really clipped the corner there, but it didn't help me with my time. Yeah, I am way behind. I am not going to get much better. Am I really down to 13? No, I'm still 5th. Just keep that accelerator on. Nope, full second behind. That's fine. I still came 5th. I'll take 5th in a group of 20. Well, so they're using the stadium logo there, and you can probably just barely see it, but the 8 logo that they use there for the Trackmania World Cup logo, it kind of looks like the logo to Mario Kart 8. Just a bit. Not exactly, but just a bit. But anyway, I should probably quit out of this now. Oh, I hate that turn. I hate that turn so much. You change traction 3 times throughout that turn. It's so annoying. But yeah, we're out. But yeah, look. This is a really well done implementation of Trackmania, which you would hopefully accept at this point, because they've had 15 years to perfect it. It's still pretty damn good. The driving is still really enjoyable. They've added a bunch of things here and there over the old stadiums that give it just that little bit extra control, although I absolutely hate the snow, and I wish it was a little bit easier to deal with. And I do appreciate the way that they've managed to integrate everything from the club rooms to the campaigns to the track sharing to the skin sharing to the replays and all that. I appreciate how they've integrated most of that into this, and the PC port performs really good, but it's got that absolutely massive anvil of the subscription model hanging over its head. And if they made standard access a one-time purchase, even if it was a little bit more expensive, and made it so that you could edit your skin with the standard access, I probably wouldn't have anywhere near as much of a problem with it. Because you can, even as a standard access, you can still play all of these campaigns and on all of these club rooms just fine, which I much appreciate. So, you know, yeah. A really good game brought down by an absolutely frustrating subscription system. Should you play it? I mean, it's free, so if you've still got Uplay installed, feel free to go and give it a try, because again, you still got the Summer 2020 courses to try out if you want to see just how much you can handle it. But, you know, it's also on the Epic Game Store. I'd probably put in a sound of me choking, but YouTube would do me in for that. So, this has been Blue Maxima. I will see you all next time.